All right, right here, we're going to evaluate this limit where a is a non-zero real valued constant. And this really has to do with a lot of algebra here. So what we have here is what someone might call a complex fraction, which is a fraction inside of a fraction. And so we're going to simplify that first. Essentially, it just comes down to us algebra simplifying a problem. And the thing is, if you notice that if you try to put in h is 0, you get a form of 0 divided by 0. And we know we can't divide by 0. So we cannot directly put in h equals 0, but we're going to manipulate this expression. And so after we move things around, we're going to cancel the h in the denominator, and then we'll be able to just directly substitute h is 0. And what we do here is we multiply by the lowest common denominator. And this is a sort of a little technique that you see when you have this complex fraction. So the common denominator is a times a plus h. Okay, so we multiplied there by the common denominator. Multiply by the LCD, least common denominator. And then when I do that, the way it's supposed to work is I'm supposed to be able to do this without writing out a bunch more steps. I use the distributive property and I cancel out. So that's the deal here, is we're supposed to cancel. So when I cancel out, what do I get? I get 1 over a plus h times a plus h, and the a plus h's cancel out, and I get a minus 1 over a times a plus h. So the a's cancel out, and so I get a plus h. Be careful with that subtraction. We need to be in parentheses. We need to be careful with that. On the denominator, I'm not going to multiply and expand at all. I am planning to cancel out that h there. And then we will distribute the negative. Distribute the negative, so the a's cancel out. Those cancel out. And so I get limit negative h over h times a plus h. And there's more canceling. We cancel out more h's. Those h's cancel out. So we get limit h approaches 0. I need to write limit each time. So people decide, well, I'm not going to write h, or I'm not going to write limit. No, they don't write limit sometimes. I'll mark it off. You have to write all these steps, writing down limits each time, whole thing. Okay, now see, we canceled out the h, so that's in the denominator, so I can plug in. So I put in h equals 0. So I'll get negative 1, a plus 0, and that makes negative 1 over a squared. So make sure that you go ahead and write the word limit and all that stuff. It's not like a multiple choice test where you just get the answer or something. You have to show all your work carefully.